All right, and we are back. The starting five is live. The sages of sports, the excellence of elegance and eloquency. There we go. That's a big word. That's some SAT stuff there for you. We're gonna start it off, man. I am your gracious host, former TV sports anchor Lane Fobbs, and I'm joined by the four horsemen of Houston. They know sports more than anybody. Dan Patrick, whoever you want to talk about. I don't care. Stephen A. I mean, everybody knows more than Stephen A. But anyway,
Oh,
from left to right, my boy Andrew Holly the fourth. What's good?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Well, Marcus Brodden, what's up?
what's happening, my people?
Marcus Griffin, here he is. What's good, man?
I have returned.
I am delivered. And of course, last but certainly not least, with the Rockets avatar, even though they lost, they're gonna tie it up, I believe it. Tim Shealy, what's good with you?
Yo, people, happy Cinco de Mayo. Turn up.
Boy, I had a chick at work tonight, Cohen. She came stumbling in there drunk. I don't see how she made her shift. There's only one Mexican spot out here, man, in New Bern. Like, it ain't that many Hispanics like it is back home. So
Okay.
went to the one spot and she turned up. She looked like it too. But let's jump right into it, man. Let's jump right into it. We do wish our folk, man, our brown brothers a happy Cinco de Mayo, man. But let's start with the MVP race. And I saw on Facebook a lot of y'all feeling some type of way. Steph Curry is the MVP. James Harden is not, despite leading a bunch of guys who, if it wasn't for him, Rockets are probably 8th seed maybe, or on the outside looking in because they didn't have Dwight Howard most of the year. But it is Steph Curry. That's who got the MVP. Let's just go from left to right, man. What did you think? What were your thoughts when you first heard that Steph Curry and not our brother James Harden would be the MVP?
Is that me? Is that am I left or right?
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah. There
Oh,
we go.
well, like I said, I've always said that Steph Curry would be the MVP, well deserved. Best player on the best team, MVP on his team, 67 win season, led his team to the number one seed, setting records for his team. If James Harden would have won, I wouldn't have felt any other way. I felt like those two the only people who should win the MVP, but I think Steph Curry is very deserving.
You said so you think Steph Curry is deserving?
Of the MVP, yes, that's not 100%.
Marcus, man, you agree? What do you think?
I definitely agree that Steph Curry deserved it. I even said he deserved it. I mean, in the NBA, it's all about winning, and it's all about who has the best team chemistry in order to win a championship. He was the best player on the best team. Of course, I love my Rockets, and I gave all due respect to James Harden. He was one of the candidates, but it's called a candidate for a reason. He was one of the potential winners. He wasn't the winner, and that's just how the Associated Press looks at it. But yes, he carried our team. We wouldn't be the second seed without him. But at the end of the day, you cannot downplay anything that Steph Curry did for that team. Because without Steph Curry, they're not the number one seed. Without Steph Curry, they don't break that franchise record for wins. Without Steph Curry, they won't be on the way to the NBA championship right now.
Marcus, man, I know I saw it on Facebook, man. It looked like you were hurt. It's Steph Curry or James Harden, man. How did it make you feel?
Man, I knew it was going to go to Curry. I mean, everything was leading up going to Curry. I'm not really hating on Curry. He's had a great season. A lot of his stats don't, jump out at you, but it's like you have to look at the deeper stats because, his points per game and things of that nature they're good on their own, but they're not MVP type. It's the other stats of, his 3-point shooting and his
44%, man.
And his efficiency and all that stuff. But my whole thing, it always boils down to is I don't like the whole politics behind the MVP award for the simple fact is I don't think it's always given to the best player on like the most valuable player in the league. Because if you take Curry off, the Warriors, they're still a contending playoff team. You take Harden off the Rockets, we're not even in the playoffs. You got the Suns probably finish better than us. The OKC probably still gonna be in the playoffs and all that stuff. But it's like what Harden did with the lack of talent. I'm not saying that we're not talented, but with the lack of talent, it's astonishing that people couldn't see that. And then my friend at work pointed out He said Curry scored only 22 points against the Grizzlies on the first game of the second round, and they still blew out the Grizzlies. That says a lot about your team.
I mean, one through 10, we talked about this numerous times. 1 through 10, the Warriors are unstoppable. You just can't bring in those type of veterans off your bench and expect to beat them. Like they're a solid team, but at the same time, the callus of any team is the point guard. It all starts with the point guard. He has to distribute the ball and he has to make the smart decisions. Now, when it comes to making smart decisions, shooting 44% from the three-point line, and then backdoor, when you get to the free throw line, you're knocking in 91%. When you talk about the in-between area, he knocked in about 45%. He almost joined the 50, 40, 90 club. He was pretty
shot
much
himself out.
points. Yeah, pretty much percentage points
Shot
out.
himself out the court.
But even at that, when you're knocking in 91% of your free throws, 40% of your threes, and then another 40% from in between, those numbers that you just can't match. Even like Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose didn't have the best year, but he was on the most efficient team that year when he won the MVP.
And
Kevin
when he won
Garnett.
the MVP, he wasn't a true point guard when he won the MVP.
Kevin Garnett, when he won, he didn't have the best team, but he was the best player on the number 1 seed. So it was deserving. Dirk Nowitzki, when he won in 07, he was the best player on the first seeded team. So it's a lot of arguments you can make, but NBA history shows that if they can't define what the clear-cut winner is, it's going to come down to who had the best team, which means who had the best season overall. The Warriors had the best season overall. You just can't be upset because they had bigger depth.
And then also, let Tim get his point, but also you make that point about Steph Curry playing only having 22 points. Mike Conley, their starting point guard, is not even playing. Memphis has a terrible offensive game. I bet you if the Pelicans, he's playing the Pelicans again, probably would have went off for 30, which he averaged 30 points in the first playoffs, the first round of the playoff series. So yeah, he only scored 22 points against Memphis, who can't score. Steph Curry by himself has more offensive capabilities than the Memphis offensive team. So I'm pretty sure if Memphis was actually pushing the Warriors, we'd probably see them go up to 30 points. But for what? When Memphis can't even go score over than 70 points.
His season average was 23. He was 1 point off. So that's pretty much what you're supposed to expect out of Curry. 20, 22, 23 points. That's his game. If he go for anything more than that, he's just having a great shooting night.
And
That's
then
I think this year he showed that he was more than just a shooter, a guy that comes up the court and jacks up shots.
His passing skill is crazy.
His passing, he had some amazing passes this year. He showed his ball handling off, which a lot of people didn't know that he could do, because I know that he could dribble that type of way. And not even just to shoot, able to get in position to get your shot off. You know, he was stuck in a lot of bad positions this year and did amazing things to get open to get his shot off, man.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to give him that. He showed that he was more than just a shooter, which I thought he was coming out of Davidson. He was just going to be a guy jack up a bunch of shots.
Mm-hmm.
He can do it efficiently, and he can do it anytime he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing that really bothered me was Harden shot himself in the foot. When not winning MVP, you come out and show the world why you feel like you deserved it. And he had a horrible game to my stand.
I was actually wanting to get to that. Let's jump in that because the Rockets did lose. It was bad last night, man. Just the worst opening, because the Rockets, let's be real, they don't go to the second round that often. And they look like a team that doesn't go there that often. Kevin McHale had them unprepared. Doc Rivers trolling Rockets fans. It was pretty bad. Tracy McGrady was in the house. I think that's kind of why things got messed up. But guys,
oh man, no respect for my boy T-Mac, two-time lead scorer in the league.
They finally left. When he was not in uniform, they went to the second round against the Lakers. Shout out to Ron Artest getting us there.
Hey, T-Mac in the finals.
Yeah, with the Spurs. True story, by the way. I had a friend that worked with the Spurs. When T-Mac first got there, he swears to God, he saw him take 20 jumps and warm up and miss 20. But I want to start with James Harden, though, man, because that was a moment for him when I found out that he wasn't going to win the award. I was still excited because I was thinking, all right, the brother's going to come out and drop 45 to 50. Instead, he came out with what I thought was a very lackadaisical attitude, man. What did you all think of James Harden's performance and what he brought to the table?
I had a problem for the simple fact is he had 9 turnovers. And the total, they had 24 turnovers. Blake Griffin looked like, I don't know what Blake Griffin looked like. He looked amazing out there. He looked like he should have got the MVP award. James Harden's attitude was so passive. I don't like that little short bounce pass he does. Dribbling to people's ankles. I don't, and I can't blame Mikal because I was gonna blame Mikal, but it just looked like he didn't know how to. He didn't know how to. He couldn't have believed how the Rockets played last night. So I don't too much blame Mikal. I blame more of the players for not stepping up, and they kind of didn't take the Clippers serious. And it was all following James Harden leadership, which was absent the whole game.
Guys, another question too. He's supposed to set the tone, man. He's supposed to set the tone for the rest of you all. How disappointed are you in James, man? Because he's performed well the entire season. This is really the first real major hiccup. What do you think?
Well, when it comes to James, for me, the 9 turnovers frustrating, but he did have 12 assists. He had 4 steals. He was very active on defense. Crawford made a tough ass shot on him, and that kind of killed the spirit. You can see after that shot was made, James started slumping his shoulders, and then right after that shot was made, he fouled Redick and put Redick on the free throw line, pick up his 4th foul. So that whole sequence really just took James out of his whole element. I don't think he ever bounced back from it because he exited the game pretty much giving up 5 points in an already close game. You exit the game, you're responsible for 5 points that you just gave up. And I think the only thing that concerned me in the 4th quarter is that he wasn't aggressive trying to find his shot. He still tried to rely on his teammates who missed some open jumpers. Ariza, Terry, they really let him down in the 4th with those open jumpers that they missed. He got blocked a few times by DeAndre trying to take it hard to the paint. And maybe a few times he cried for a call that he maybe should have got, but it's the playoffs. You can't cry for those. He got his 6 free throws. He went 5 for 6, but he missed a big one at the end. So overall, I think James played an okay game. He just wasn't aggressive on offense. He had full effort on the defensive end. He tried to get his teammates involved. You've seen that with the 12 assists. It should have been more like 17 or 18 assists the way he was passing. But at the same time, all those trying to throw the ball into the big man and these bounce passes, these behind the back passes he tried to do, that has to stop. And that's just him getting into this whole swag champs thing. I think that's what's really going to hold him back from this whole season because I think he buys into that so much that he thinks he can make these highlight plays at all times. And you sometimes just have to make the simple basketball play, the simple pass, and that'll be better for your team overall.
Yeah, and I think as a whole team, I think we heard Mikal say that they like the energy. I think it's more or less that they like the effort, man. It's something I feel about the Rockets is they feel old things, and I don't know where they get that type of attitude where they feel that they're owed something. We saw that when they were supposed to close out the Mavericks. It felt like they thought that game was theirs. And coming in the last night with Chris Paul being out, it kind of felt like the Rockets thought, okay, the Clippers will lay down and we can come in here and get this easy win. And I told DeMarco earlier, after looking at the first half, I said, if the Rockets come out and play the second half the same way that they played the first half, they're gonna lose, man. You didn't see effort, you didn't see anybody really trying, you didn't see them really taking care of the ball at all. It was so many careless passes and turnovers. It just looked like they didn't want to be there for some reason.
All right, and Andrew, for you, how concerned are you? Are you concerned going forward? Because, like Tim said, there was no Chris Paul. This was a game right there for the Rockets. Everyone was excited for the not championship, but everyone was excited for the second round. Fall flat. How concerned are you going forward?
Well, I'll say this, and this is be honest. I say that if Chris Paul was anything above 80%, I feel like the Clippers were going to win the series. And hopefully, not to wish he's hurt or anything like that. But I just feel like the way he's playing right now and the fact that Harden is not playing like that to combat that MVP. Basically, Chris Paul is having a Finals MVP moment right now in round 1. And he's only going to continue because he's played like that all 7 games almost. James, well, I'm saying in playoff-wise, it's like Finals MVP. And so I haven't seen James. James had that one game, I guess, but I haven't seen James play like that, to be able to go against that. So if Chris Paul is anything over 80% healthy, I was leaning towards the Clippers. Maybe in 6, maybe in 7. I don't think they would have. I give the Rockets more than that. But
I mean,
also that which was also asked to that for me is Blake Griffin is in the same swing he's costing the team, and then in another game he's the backbone reason why. Like we're talking about triple doubles here in the playoffs. A lot of people don't do that. Any
grown man
position,
triple doubles, 13
you
assists,
know?
14 rebounds. It's not no 10-10. I'm barely getting
No.
them. I got to get a rebound at the
In the
end.
last one, in the
He
last
getting
second
these.
of the
He getting
quarter.
these in the third quarter.
So he's playing huge right now. DeAndre Jordan's playing how DeAndre Jordan plays, which he's been playing at a consistent level all season.
He's playing like a free agent, about to cash in.
Yeah.
So I really felt like that the Clippers were a better team going into the series, but what the Clippers lack is depth, which the Rockets bench isn't the greatest, but I'll put them against. I think they're better than the Clippers. Honestly, when it comes as far as bench, I would say Houston, how they played in the first series. I would say Houston has a top 3 bench in the playoffs, remaining in the playoffs.
The only thing that concerns me about the bench is we don't have a guy that can come in and give you 20 like a Jamal Crawford. Whenever Jamal Crawford comes in, and he comes in 8 for 18, 4 assists, 2 steals, 21 points, it's damn near the Clippers are unstoppable because he is their bench. We've said this multiple times.
Yeah, he's on the thing.
Once you get that from him, and then Austin Rivers, solid 17, filling in for Chris Paul, 4 from 6 from the 3. J.J. Redick turned it in the second half. They made overall 13 threes, shot 41%. They made some dagger threes.
And their threes, 13.
All daggers.
Yeah, 13, which they averaging, I think, around 10 and 11, right where the Rockets are. So they're hitting average. But to get back to your question, am I concerned? I'm not concerned because, it's like I said, if Chris Paul was healthy, I picked the Clippers to win. But it's a long series. And the fact that we still don't know who Chris Paul is, because who's to say that he didn't have a couple months injury? He needs to sit out for a couple months.
He played all 82.
He was walking. He was walking on one leg the end of that Spurs game. How he made that shot was just crazy. But that's what adrenaline does to you. So who knows how everything happened after it settled down, or how worse the injury is.
They're riding a huge wave, like we was talking earlier. He turns 30 tomorrow. That means his point guard window is slowly closing, and we all know how unproductive point guards go when they turn 30. You look at Steve Nash. So this is pretty much the most wide open year the NBA is. And if it's ever a chance for him to get to the final, this is not even a guarantee, it'll be this year, but it's going to take getting past this Houston team plus a tough Warriors team and maybe beating the Bulls in the finals.
And I'll tell you this before you continue. I'll tell you this: if they do beat the Clippers, if they do beat the Rockets in this round, anything less than 100%, Chris Paul will not beat the Warriors. He has to be 100% by the time they get to the Warriors.
If they work him correctly with the rehab and the rest, he'll be okay.
Because honestly, right now how the Warriors play, you can't be a man down. Like everybody has to be 100%. Like the same Blake Griffin you've seen, he has to show there as well if they're going to beat the Warriors.
And it doesn't seem like it'll be that way in the Rockets case. And for Marcus and Tim, I wanted to ask you about some of the shirts I saw in the crowd, because there was some. You may have seen them, I'm sure. There was a checkbox next to the goals the Rockets had, if you saw that. And what was missing was the finals. Like it said, division champions check, first round check, second round conference finals. I didn't see anything about the NBA finals. Does this team, honestly, they have not seriously competed since we were in second grade. 1997, 1998, when they lost in the Western Finals, was the last good look they had at it. Is it finally just time for this team to really take a different mindset that nothing less than an NBA Finals is acceptable? Does this team just need not an overhaul team-wise, but an overhaul mentality-wise?
For me, it's hard for me to say because you got to realize.
Let Marcus and Tim jump in real quick.
What'd you say?
I was saying, does this team?
You want Tim to go?
Yeah, any of y'all could go. One of y'all could go first. Go ahead.
It all starts with the head of the horse, and it's James Harden. They in interviews talking about this is not the end for us. We have bigger goals in mind. Dwight Howard comes to repeat the same thing. Here comes Corey Brewer. Oh, what the world? Oh, hello?
What's up? We got you.
It sounded like something went out. But everybody comes out and keeps saying the same thing, but they don't play like that. They haven't played like that in a while. It's just like the Rockets just always look lazy. They just look like they lost out there. It's like sometimes I want to go back to Rick Adelman, where the offense actually looked pretty nice with the B level talent we had. I don't know if it's Mikhail or what's the problem, or just because we don't have no true point guard, but it just we look lazy, and we just make the. Someone say that we some sports writer said that we have the most sluggish passes that ever been played on an NBA team, because it's just like we just have these. Nothing seems crisp. Everything seems just like we're just out there playing street ball or something like that. And I have a problem with that. And I just think McNeil needs to get a hold of these guys and let them know that y'all are trying to play for something bigger. And then the fans. Oh man, I know y'all been to a Rockets game. The fans are so boring. We have like the worst fans in I think.
Hey, you can tell that's a Red Rowdy. They be wilding out.
Yeah, man, I know you've seen it. What do you think?
Yeah, me personally, man, I think we have to somewhat have the mentality of a one game, one series. I don't think you can just say it's championship or bust, especially with us in what did you say? That's 18 years. It's been 18 years since we probably been closest to competing for a championship. You have to somewhat, keep your eyes on the prize, which is one game, one series at a time. Handle your business, and you'll eventually get there. I think our problem is that we kind of get ahead of ourselves, and like I say, we feel that we're owed something. You remember back when we had Yao and Tracy. That was it. The Rockets are going to compete for a championship this year. You can't just have that mentality of saying, okay, we're already there. You have to say, okay, let's take this. Let's get through this team, especially in the Western Conference. Let's beat this team. Let's handle what we have to get through, and then let's move on to the next. And I feel eventually you'll get there, and then you can compete for that championship. But I don't think it's just a championship or bust type of mentality that we have to have, because once you start worrying about that stuff and you figure, I got to get there, I got to get there, I got to get there, and you're not worried about the team at hand, you're trying to look past it, that's when you mess up.
I still feel like everything with the Rockets franchise right now is a reflection of the owner. And now the one thing you got to know about Les Alexander, his first 2 years buying the team, he won a championship. First 2 years. So this was an older guy, and he's old now, who barely comes to games, let his whole franchise be ran by a numbers guy, analytics, and he brought him in to take care of everything. Les don't show any emotion to the team like he did in the 90s. And maybe it's because he's older. Maybe someone else needs to come and captivate this whole franchise, because as long as Les is owning this team, he's going to let the GM do whatever they need to do. And sometimes you need the input of the person that actually owns the team to tell you what you need to do, because he's not giving him any leeway when it comes to who he can bring in, who he can bring out. Look at all these free agents. Look at the trades that they make. These are all people that either Mikhail or Morey want, Morey ball. So this is not really a Rockets franchise. I still feel like we're a gimmick team because we're ran off analytics. And at the end of the day, analytics is not proven to win any championships. It's proven to turn your franchise around and get you in the playoffs, like it did with the Hawks back in the day when they first brought in Joe Johnson and started bringing in Horford and had Josh Smith. But look how far they got. Once they got to the second round, they lost. The Hawks were, I think, 1-16 in the second round lifetime. And look at us. We get to the second round, we're cheering, we're excited, we're happy. But once we get eliminated, don't they put us in the same boat as the Hawks?
Exact same boat. By the way, Hawks are up 82-75 over the Wizards right now. I wanted to talk, too, about Chandler Parsons. I don't know if you saw this or not, but as the Rockets were losing, he conveniently sent a tweet that said, there it is, time to sleep. And somebody from ESPN called him out about it, and he basically said, F you, grow up. But he sent it right as the Rockets lost, man. But the guy did have a point. Parsons is sitting at home, man. What did y'all think of that? Does he just need to go? Does he need to go to sleep?
Parsons is the bitter girlfriend who's mad that the boyfriend is doing good in life.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what that is. I mean, Parsons, I think he's still upset how everything transpired. I really think he feel like we stabbed him in the back by not giving him the contract. But at the end of the day, you were a second round pick. You wasn't a first round talent. And if they really wanted you, they would have kept you for that 1 year and gave you an unrestricted contract. Any team that don't want players, they tell them to go find the max money. They tell them to do that. It's the same thing the Cavs did with Boozer back in the day. But Boozer, they didn't match that either because they feel like he wasn't worth the money. Or else he still would have been playing with LeBron.
Exactly. Marcus, man, I know you saw it. You feel some type of way, Chandler Parsons. What was your thoughts?
I can't. I mean, I can't really. I personally, I don't just hate on Chandler Parsons. You know, I think he's still just mad about how everything went down. For the simple fact is, I'm pretty sure he really enjoyed being with the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
He played. It's like
he recruited Dwight.
He brought the energy for the Rockets. Because it was always when it was like Dwight not playing good or Harden not playing good, he brought that energy and everybody all fed off of that. And I personally hated when we lost Chandler Parsons, so I don't really try to talk down on him. But you know, it's just like it is what it is. It's life. You know, you don't get mad regardless. So I can't too much hate on Parsons.
Hey,
now,
Tim,
if you got a text like that, then I mean a tweet like that, it's a problem. I gotta go fight Jeremy Lin.
Oh boy,
Tim, man, what how do I want to put it? What am I trying to say? Are you feeling some type of way about Parsons, man? Let's go back to that, man, because I feel like if they had him right now, the energy would be a little bit different. Just how badly did the Rockets get screwed over by that? Because they did try to call Mark Cuban's bluff. No, Mark Cuban called the Rockets bluff and won. How badly were the Rockets screwed over, man?
I actually think we won their free agency because
I don't think it was I don't think we were screwed over. I mean, we picked up Ariza, which his stats and Parsons' stats were very similar, and you know I think he's a better defender or a better on-ball defender than Parsons was. And I don't think really Parsons was worth the money that, you know, Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks are paying him. So I don't feel that we were screwed over. I just think it was basically, you know, like you say, it's just Cuban called the bluff and we weren't willing to pay him the money.
And then, in a nutshell, everything that Chandler Parsons did kind of got degraded at Game 6. Yeah, he made the basket to put us up against the Blazers, but he was also supposed to have Lillard on that on-ball defense, and look what happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Parsons was a great player, but I don't think he would have changed anything that we're doing as a team because he didn't make a lot of his threes, and his stats kind of went down this year. So he got worse, and then he got hurt. So when you look at it, we still got a healthier Ariza, and they stuck paying Chandler Parsons $15 million a year while we paying Trevor Ariza $6 million. So who won?
Okay, good stuff. Okay, because you know there's always a sore spot in the Rockets side, man. It adds to the rivalry. You know that too. That's good stuff, man. Let's see. Let's. I want to get into. I really don't want to. Do y'all want to get into the Warriors Grizzlies series?
I mean, we don't. That's 5 Warriors in 5, maybe 4.
All right. What's up?
I got Warriors in 5.
Okay. Let's jump to a more interesting series, which pretty much decided the East. Cavs Bulls. Cavaliers lost at home. Bulls stole home court advantage. I think LeBron's too passive, man. I think he's got to come out a little more strong if they're going to win. You know, great. I want you all to grade LeBron's performance because it's always about him. I think he's too passive. What are the experts?
Man, can I please say, I don't know if it's me or is it just I don't like LeBron now. I feel like when LeBron was with the Cavs at first, he was always hungry. He was always attacking the basket, and it's just like now he want to play a point guard. It's like LeBron,
shoot jump shot.
You're like a good 30+ pounds bigger than everybody on the floor. Like, put the ball into the hole. You always want to put some jumpers. You want to go drive into the lane, jump up like Jeremy Lin and try to dish it to whoever outside. It's like, no, man.
You know, Griff, I'm glad you brought up hunger because you pretty much tying to everything I want to talk about. Jimmy Butler, 44 minutes played,
Hungry.
3 steals on LeBron, no fouls, forced LeBron into 6 turnovers, and forced LeBron into 9 for 22 shooting. When you talk about hungry, Chicago probably has the hungriest player in the league right now. And you all know how we pump up Marquette guards, but this is probably the best one coming out since D. Wade. I mean, Wes Matthews, all due respect, but this guy is the perfect two-way player that you need to have a championship caliber team. And the defense that he put on LeBron for the 41 minutes he was in the game, he wanted it more. At the end of the game, he wanted the ball, and he made those shots. So you got a hungry player on the Bulls, and you got an aging vet who I never really seen the killer mentality in LeBron. I never seen it. I seen it a few times, a few sparks, where I feel like he was just doing it because the pressure was on, but LeBron don't got that killer instinct. He don't have the instinct to say, y'all not going to win my championship this year like a Tim Duncan, like a Shaq. He don't have that. The NBA should not be wide open if you're the best player in the league. Michael Jordan never had the NBA wide open like LeBron has it to be called the man of the league. Never. Never, man.
Man,
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I mean, you just gotta look at it, man. You know, he had Jimmy Butler on him, which if you remember after game, I'm thinking 5 against the Bucks, Jimmy Butler challenged himself and said, man, you know, I'm supposed to be the lockdown defender on this team, and I'm not defending the soul. And then their game 6, they blew out the Bucks, and then look at what he did to LeBron yesterday. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you want out of a player, especially as we said earlier in one of our sessions. You know, he's what Derrick Rose has always needed.
Always.
This is what Derrick Rose has always needed, man. Derrick Rose has always needed somebody like Butler who can potentially lock down almost anybody in the league and still give you something on the offensive end.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's not just a 3-and-D player. That's what they call him. He can give you something. He can drive. He can shoot. He can pretty much do it all. You still have a Pau Gasol who's gonna I think is gonna murder Cleveland this series. I don't think they have an answer for him.
When you put Mike Miller on Paul Gasol, I mean, come on, man. That's the whole reason why they got down big so early. I mean, Paul Gasol is gonna take advantage of that matchup every single time. Every single time.
On Sunday, when it's on ABC and everybody watches. But no, man. Let's see. Wizards Hawks, man. Wizards Hawks. I think this is an interesting series because I'm going to go ahead and pick the Wizards to win this, even though they're losing right now. It's 88-81 with about 7.5 left in the fourth quarter.
No John Wall. All you need is a split.
Yeah. What do y'all think about the Wizards' chances, man? Because honestly, I'd rather see them than the Hawks. They bore me.
I mean, you know me. I've been high on the Wizards since the playoffs started, and the one player that I feel is the key to everything is Otto Porter. Like we really watching this dude blossom. Like the first game, he had a double-double. I'm not exactly sure how he's doing tonight. I can check it out. He got 10 points. Another double-double. That's back-to-back double-doubles. He's just like the season. He's third on the team in minutes. So he's giving them a lot of quality minutes, and I think he's gonna be the key to everything. Paul Pierce, I think he's still able to knock down a few shots. You're not gonna get 20 points from him every night, but that veteran leadership that you don't have on most teams, that's what Paul Pierce gonna bring.
Jump in there, Marcus. What's up? Can the Wizards pull this off? And would you rather see the Wizards? Oh,
I honestly would rather see the Wizards, and I think the Wizards will pull it out. You know, we looked at the Hawks throughout the season, and I don't think anybody really gave them a chance to come out the East once playoff time started. They were a good team. You got to give them their respect. They had their run and everything this year, but nobody really expected these guys to come out the East. Once the playoffs start, you know, Korver's going to have to shoot. He's going to have to shoot good. And I don't think he's been the same Korver that he was during the season. He's been missing a lot more shots. And this, as we talked about hungry with the last team, I think this Wizards team is very hungry, man. You know, I think they won. I think they actually want to prove some critics wrong. Bradley Beal, John Wall, Otto Porter. I think they prove some critics wrong that, man, that, you know, they can hoop here, man. They can hoop. They're good ball players. And that, I think a lot of teams in the East, they want to get rid of that stigma that the East is weak. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talks about, they're in the East, they're not that good. If they were in the West, they'd be here. I think that with Paul Pierce on the team like that leading, I think, you know, they will probably be in the Eastern Conference Championship. I give them 6 games.
Okay. Yeah, I can see them. I mean, because you got to realize John Wall, he was the number 1 pick. And at some point in your career, you have to actually play like it. And the same thing goes for Bradley Beal and Otto Porter. And I think this is more like a coming out party. Yeah, they won their series last year, but even with age, I still feel like Paul Pierce and what he brings is an upgrade over Trevor Ariza.
Yeah, cool.
You still got your big man. You got Kevin Fair, you got Kevin Seraphin, and Drew Gooden, man, knocking down those threes. You know, those type of things you just can't game plan for. You can't game plan for Drew Gooden coming on transition, knocking down threes, and he hitting. So when you get a team like that and they confident in each other, because you have to be confident to pass the ball to Drew Gooden, you can actually make some noise in Easton.
Marcus, man, tell me about the Wizards.
What?
Tell me about the Wizards, man. Would you rather?
I agree with DeMarcus was talking about, but I always said that boy Drew Gooden was an X factor coming off the bench. I mean, Drew Gooden. I mean, just last game, man, he was really impressive to watch. And I don't know how far the Wizards are gonna get without, I don't know how John Wall wrist is gonna be, but man, Atlanta is just, I don't know, man, they just very boring to watch.
Because they're the Spurs of the East.
Man, but I enjoy watching Spurs. I don't like watching Atlanta play.
They're the Spurs of the East minus the Spurs talent because they're in the East, so you got to downgrade everything.
Example.
Let's see. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Can we talk about what Pop was talking about the roster change about the Spurs?
Yeah, man. Jump in there. Go ahead.
Hey, so I mean, I would want to know what everybody felt about it because I thought he was like that was a wink that they're gonna go after a free agent. Because I know it was rumbling saying that they want to go after Marc Gasol, and I was like, man, if they get Marc Gasol, I think it's a wrap for the West.
Aldridge,
either one of the Lopez brothers.
both the Lopez brothers. I'm telling those Lopez brothers gonna want to play together, and I think San Antonio gonna have the best chance of saying that they both can play together in this system because they also had rumblings about trading Tiago Splitter. So why would you want to trade your backup center if you weren't trying to lobby for an extra spot?
What is the best move for the Spurs? What do y'all think it is? I know we got a couple Spurs fans that listen. We're in Texas. What would be the best offseason move for the Spurs, a.k.a. the move we don't want to see as Rockets fans?
Aldridge.
The one I hate is Aldridge, man.
Aldridge. Because he fits too perfect into what Pop wants to do. Yeah. And he only going to stretch them out even more than what Tim Duncan did throughout his career. Because Tim Duncan hit a few threes, but he only did that on occasion, like clutch moments in the playoffs just to show that he had the range. But if you get a person like that wants to shoot those jump shots and can make them, that makes the Spurs more dangerous, and they only reload it because now you're going to have a Kawhi Leonard who's going to get another year in the offseason. They're going to pretty much try to mold him into that superstar. But with the age of Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, they pretty much question marks. I think Tim Duncan will return for sure. But if you just load up those big men, the Spurs will be locked and loaded. They still got Patty Mills. I think they'll re-sign Danny Green. I think they'll be back at it next season.
Okay. I think I would go with I don't know. Yeah. I guess I go with him. I go with Aldridge. You can't go wrong with Gasol either. You can line him up with Tim Duncan back at the 4. There's some things you could do there too. I hope none of this happens with San Antonio, of course, because you know what that would mean for the Rockets.
But from what I heard between the Spurs and Dallas, if either one of them were to get LaMarcus Aldridge, I heard that Dirk Nowitzki and Tim Duncan are willing to go to the bench, welcome in a new star player.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, that's the ultimate sacrifice, and I mean you see that as veterans turn to veteran players. You know, like it's one thing to be a veteran starter, but a veteran bench player is just as effective because now they only have a limited role to come in and do the things that they're great at versus having to expand that role out over 30 minutes. So Tim Duncan coming in for 20 minutes will be way more effective than Tim Duncan playing 40 like he did in the playoffs.
Okay. Hey, you got to give that boy Tim Duncan some props. He was balling out there against.
Oh yeah, 40 minutes, and he played double overtime? Or was it one overtime? But just the fact that he was out there while Tony Parker in the back, that speaks wonders about this man's shape and his whole career.
And that's what's saving him during the season. You know, holding him out during random games. That's what it does. All that complaining we do in December, January, you see it now. I think. Exactly.
Well, I heard the NBA was trying to go and do. They're doing a check and balance on that too, about sitting healthy and active like that. That's not good for the fan base.
I mean, I don't think you can do anything about that. It's their team, and what if those players are actually hurt? They don't have to always tell the truth. How many people you see lie? Manny Pacquiao lied about being hurt. Shit, we see it all the time. So you can't be upset just because they want to rest one of their veteran players. They need rest too. Those tired legs.
And it's been proven, I mean, they're just coming off a championship, so the proof's in the pudding as far as going with resting your players.
And then I think half their roster goes and play world basketball in the summer. So those are tired guys. Those are tired guys.
Okay, if that's the case, do you think James Harden would have been going a little bit harder in the playoffs if he had got the rest a little bit?
No, because I think that USA camp actually made James Harden the player that he is. And you said the same. We can say the same thing with Steph Curry and anybody that went in that camp because they actually won something. So when he actually wins something, that's going to transition to the NBA because you want to hold up that trophy again at the end of the season, just like you did in the FIFA playoffs.
Yeah, you want to know what it's like. I want to talk about another potential change to the NBA. You reminded me of this. Adam Silver, he's saying he's going to look at the Hack-a-Shack rule or something, and they asked Greg Popovich about it, and he said, hey, these guys can't make free throws. You know who he was talking about, DeAndre Jordan. Let's not BS ourselves. But he was saying if guys can't make their shots, then too bad. I don't think the Hack-a-Shack rule is good for the game. I don't think that's good. It needs to go because the NBA does separate itself from other leagues, and what makes me like it the best is the fact that it does not stop. It's similar to hockey. There's always constant action, but when you put people on the line, that slows it down. What do you guys think? Does the rule need to stay or go?
Yeah, it's a go, man. It just because just watching the Clippers play the Spurs and they just go into that tactic of like bringing so and so way down the bench line just to draw a couple of fouls on DeAndre Jordan. It's like, yo, really? And it takes the flow out the game. Like, you have to sit here, you got to wait for DeAndre Jordan to miss 2 free throws. I mean, yeah, it's your job to hit free throws, but not everybody's going to be gifted in hitting free throws. But it's just like, oh man, it's hard to watch.
It really is hard to watch. And I think the best example of a change I've seen is make them wait until 10 seconds left on the shot clock. At least give their team 14 seconds to do something on offense. If they can't get nothing done, then you can start hacking. Or the rule about no more than twice. After 2 times, it's a technical foul with possession. It's a lot of different things they can do. Will it get addressed? We never know. We'll never know because the rules of the game almost like the Bible of sports. It's so hard to change them, especially in the offseason, because you got to get approval from all 32 teams. And if half those teams feel like it's an advantage for them, they're not going to vote for it.
We know the Spurs won't vote for it.
Exactly.
What do you think, Tim? Does it need to stay or go?
Well, me personally, I would like to see it go. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the rule, but I also agree, what Pop says. I've even heard Shaq say this, man. If you have to learn how to shoot your free throws, you have to learn how to make your free throws, man. You're a professional played athlete. You got to be able to do it. I know the rule is called Hack-a-Shack, and that's the guy. But when he says it, man, you got to be able to come out here and shoot the free throws, man. You got to be able to figure something out. I like the Marcus rule about the 10 seconds. That's something that I haven't heard, and I thought that was really good. But these guys have to start running. That's the only way for you to combat the strategy. Shoot your free throws, make them.
Okay. And I agree. I mean, just from all of y'all, like, does it need to be changed? Yes. Will it be changed? Probably not. That's what's about it.
It's the same thing with like the NFL overtime rule. Like they make small changes, but will it actually change the effect on the game? You'll never know.
Yeah, because the NFL rule, I mean, it's just kind of there. I mean, we made a big deal about it, but now that it's happened, no one really.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah. But let's see. Let's lighten it up a little bit. We're gonna wrap it up with this. This is my favorite story from the day. Willie Cauley-Stein. He's undergoing a name change legally. His name now is Willie Trill Cauley-Stein. What do we think about that? He's gonna be probably the number 1 or 2 pick. What do we think about Willie Trilly? Yeah, I'm gonna make that happen. By the way.
Really true.
I like that. It has a nice little ring. Swag name, by the way.
What's up?
I said it's a really swag name, but I mean it's so ignorant. It's like, what are you kidding me? It's like, man, black people find many ways just to make white folks look at us like these niggas ain't got nothing done.
I mean, that's true. That's true. I mean, the only thing I can say about the name change, he better bring it when he comes to the league, or he gonna be a joke. And the one thing I hate that he doing it before the draft, because now you kind of bringing attention to yourself, and it could cause him to drop. Because this really could affect his stock. Because for a person to do something as outlandish as this before the draft and not even wait till you're under contract like Ron Artest, what does that say about this guy's psyche? His focus is on having a cool name and not working out. You know, so I think he gonna have to show up. I mean, it's hard to say because we seen he did a hell of a job at Kentucky, but now he gonna have to bring this really trill to the NBA, and he better make an impact. If he don't, he's just gonna be known as the guy that changed his last name or middle name.
Now it's interesting that you said that, DeMarcus. And Tim, I want you to talk about this, speak on it. And Andrew, if you're still there, I see his mic's on mute, but if you're still jump in too, we'll start with Tim, man. DeMarcus was saying that he might drop because of this. Could he possibly be changing his name on purpose? Because the top spot means you go to the Knicks, and we know what a train wreck that is. Is this all just part of a well drawn out plan?
I don't think so, man.
That nigga ain't smart.
It's a kid being a kid, man. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it. He's a young cat, and that's it, man. I mean, it is. If you want to say it, it's a cool name. You know what I'm saying? Willie Trill. I guess maybe he'll patent it or he'll put something on the trademark it, and he might have some merchandise or some T-shirts coming out soon. But other than that, he's just a kid being a kid. I don't know if he wanted to have anything to do with where he was drafted. He's Trill now.
That's it, man. I mean, he just got to step it up. I mean, we talking about a guy. Let's not forget this is a guy that was SEC Defensive Player of the Year, All SEC First Team, All Defensive First Team, and the First Team All American. So let's not try to downplay his achievements on the court because he's a hell of a player. At the end of the day, I just think it was a little premature for the name change, especially right now when you're pretty much preparing for the biggest moment of your life. You know, they got teams that are bringing people in to work out this week as we speak. So I just think it's something that I hope it just don't mess up his draft stock, because when you mess up your draft stock, you mess up your money. And don't mess up your money, man, trying to have a cool name.
Exactly, bro. Man, it's been a good episode, man. It's been a good episode, bro.
Before we go
ahead. Jump in there.
What do you think about if there will be a Maypac?
Say that again?
Do you think there'll be a Maypac too?
Oh, nah, man. I don't think so. Well, yeah, I forgot about that, man. The fallout from the fight does continue. Apparently, Stephen A. Smith said that Floyd would be open, but Manny has to pay for it. I think Manny has taken that money. He is chilling with some extra fine Filipino women. He's not coming back to the country. What do y'all think? Say it again?
I said, I hope not. He married and got 2 kids, don't he?
Like I said, he's chilling with some fine Filipino women over in the Philippines with his money.
And your point?
They sitting on the sideline.
I'm saying I don't think he's gonna come back for a part 2. But do y'all think so?
No, it'll be the same thing. It'll be the same thing. You know, like you have to get to Floyd early to get a shot at him. But we've seen 48 people try to get to him early, and 48 have fallen. So at the end of the day, Pacquiao only gonna be number 50 because I'm sure he's gonna win this fight in September. And if Pacquiao try to pay for the fight next year, Floyd gonna cash out again, be at 50-0, and he's still gonna be at home doing the same thing he could have did at 49-0.
Well, so that's the reason I think there will be another one, man. All the money that they just made off this fight, I think you can't pass up that money. And I mean, we're hearing all this stuff coming out of Pacquiao's camp from everybody about his shoulder and all this. We'll see, because the next time they have a fight, they can tag it as Manny wasn't healthy. Can he beat Floyd now?
But next time, I don't think Manny's gonna be taking home 110 and Floyd's gonna be taking home 190. I don't think they're gonna gross as much as they would on the first one. It was the hype that got them this much money. It was the hype behind it. It was the build-up. But once people start going back and seeing that it was a one-sided fight, a guy that lost nine rounds to 3. I don't think nobody's gonna be paying $100 again to see that fight, or even $10,000 just to get in the building.
I just don't know why Floyd keep making all this money. I don't know how people keep falling for the same money. He's been doing the same crap for like 10 years. Defense, jab, defense, jab. So boring. I mean, I'm tired of watching him fight.
Well, I don't think people order the fight to actually, watch him box. I think people order the fight to see if he'll ever lose. And that's why I think that maybe with Manny coming out about his injury, and this and that, that's why I think it made people more fight. I'm not sure if they'll make as much as they did this time. I can see all the reasons for them to have another fight, for them to have the build up of having another fight.
I just don't.
It's not a main attraction no more, man. It's not like that. The main attraction of it was over this weekend, and we all seen the result. And people that actually watched the Floyd Mayweather fight wasn't surprised. People that first time watching a fight ever was upset because they don't actually know what this guy does in the ring.
That's all
he
he
defends
does.
himself.
It was a typical Floyd fight.
It was a typical Floyd fight. What did he do to Sugar Ray Leonard? Sugar Ray Leonard came at him strong for a good 4 rounds, and then it just got boring for the last 8. Yeah. It's the same thing every time. He fights not to get hit. He fights not to get hit. And he's damn good at it. I mean, it shows when his career percentage for opponents is 18%. What do he hold Pacquiao to? 19%. So Pacquiao is 1% better than the other people he's faced. That is it. That is it. That's it.
For 1%.
That is it. 99 to 100. 1% better.
That's if anybody's ever seen a Floyd fight, like you said, we knew what was going to happen pretty much. There were some people that thought that he may get knocked out, but that's pretty much we knew what was going to happen. Floyd is to me, that's it. Boxing. He takes that boxing name and he uses it so much because that's what boxers are supposed to do. You're not supposed to get hit and you're supposed to counter. That's exactly to me, that's what boxing is, and that's what Floyd does.
And this fight should have happened 5 years ago. I mean, we clearly know Pacquiao's a shell of himself, but we know the greatness that we witnessed in between, I'd say, 06 to 2011. Pacquiao was great. That was his moment, and he was one of the #1 fighters at that time. They couldn't put him ahead of Floyd because Floyd was still the undefeated champion who didn't want to fight him. But Floyd, he played his cards very well. I mean, he waited all this time. He still got the cash out. He's still undefeated. Now he's about to give away all his belts. The chances for a rematch, I think 0%. But if Floyd get broke and he just want to make some more money, of course he's going to get back in the ring. But if he goes broke, then something's wrong with it, man.
Very wrong. I mean, I feel like if you even try to go broke with the money he's got, you couldn't do it. It'd be like some Brewster's Millions type shit.
Yeah.
When you get a $180 check for one night, you shouldn't go broke ever.
Nah, we gave like $40 million to each of his kids or something like that. So, hey,
I think 50, but hey, who's counting the extra 10 million? Who cares about that?
I think my last name was Floyd. Hit daddy up.
Exactly. Man, y'all, been a good starting 5, man. Good stuff as always from the sages of sports, the knowers of knowledge, man. That's starting 5. We're gonna come back with y'all later on this week. Y'all say goodbye to the audience, man.
LeBron will never be Jordan.
Turn up.
Martin is beard. Might play better.
Cinco de Mayo, drink one for me.
Hola, Cinco de Mayo.
Tequila with the worm.
Holla at me.